season to be looking for all of the DIY gifts to share with your family and friends. Stick around with us and we're sharing 10 with you today. Let's go. Welcome back to our channel, The Purpose-Driven Homestead. I'm Amanda, and today we are sharing with you some DIY Christmas gift ideas. Now, these are not gonna be limited to Christmas gifts. It's just the Christmas season, and we wanted to share these with our followers, but they're not your typical cookie in a jar with the red and green candies or anything that's gonna be super festive. These are gonna be something that you can definitely use throughout the year. So if you're looking for a housewarming gift or anything like that, this is gonna be perfect for you. Now, all of our gift ideas here for you today are going to be using this half-gallon mason jar and then also quart-sized jars. So we're going to be using these. We also have some red twine to have it festive during Christmas time. We have some pine cones, but also we have a couple other things. You can dress them up however you'd like. We also have some labels that we'll be putting on that we'll have on our website for free for you guys to go ahead and download and print off. If you'd like to use them, we can go ahead and show you exactly how we're going to be doing that. Some of the items that we're going to go ahead and put into our jars today have been homegrown. So they came out of our garden this year. We preserved them in either the dehydrator or the freeze dryer. It gives that special touch to it, but you definitely don't need to do that. You can absolutely pick these items up at a farmer's market or wherever you do your shopping. Just whenever you're able to put in that homegrown touch, it definitely adds a little bit more to the jars. The first jar that we're going to go ahead and do today is something that you've probably seen floating around the internet and definitely relevant to the time of year that we're in right now, and that is fire cider. Fire cider is normally made with fresh citrus and herbs, but you can definitely go ahead and dehydrate them and make them shelf stable for whoever you're gifting this to, and they can go ahead and ferment it whenever they'd like. To add to this, if you'd like to make it a gift basket, you can definitely include some Bragg's apple cider vinegar. You want to make sure that this is raw. And then you can also put some raw local honey. And to add a little bit more to your gift basket, if you would like, you can go ahead and add in a fermentation weight. This is something that you put in the inside of this jar and make sure that everything stays down below, and then a fermentation top. If you're gonna go ahead and include this into your gift basket, definitely make sure that you're using a wide mouth jar. Right now I have a regular mouth just sitting here, but you want to make sure that this is wide mouth so that you can use that on there.
Most of the ingredients that we're going to share with you today are going to be dehydrated. There are going to be a few of them that are freeze dried. However, I wanted to make sure that this was possible for you to create even if you didn't have a freeze dryer. Now on our second sheet, we're going to go ahead and line it with citrus. We have some oranges and some limes. On the previous sheet, we went ahead and put some ginger, jalapenos, some items that we're going to go ahead and include here in our recipe. Now on the bottom, we're going to go ahead and put our spices. So we started off with some thyme, some turmeric, and some ginger. We have both fresh and ground ginger. We just wanted that nice flavor in there, but now we're going to go ahead and put all of our dehydrated items in here. I'll go ahead and put it on the side of the screen so you can see exactly what went into this jar, but a lot of jalapenos and some freshly dried chili peppers that we grew in our garden.
Next up, we're going to go ahead and make a stovetop potpourri. This is going to be a citrus cranberry. We're going to go ahead and use some items that I have here, some cinnamon sticks and some orange peel. We also have some dehydrated items, so let's go ahead and get started.
One of the scents that just reminds me of Christmas is cranberries. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these halfway, and we're going to go ahead and dehydrate those. You definitely want to make sure that they're cut so that all of the moisture can be drawn out of them. Now we're assembling our jar. We have some citrus in here, some cinnamon sticks, some ginger, and our cranberries. And then we are going to go ahead and put some of this orange peel as well. Now we're just going to go ahead and continue the layers until we fill up this jar. That way it is nice and pretty, and we're going to go ahead and top it off with our homegrown rosemary.
Okay guys, let's talk about a really simple one here. So we grow rosemary here in our homestead, and I know a lot of you have told us that you live in a small home or an apartment and you have an herb garden going. So this is a really great one to have that homegrown touch without having to have a whole huge garden that you've preserved. If you don't have rosemary garden growing, you can definitely pick up some rosemary leaves from the grocery store, and then we're gonna pair it with your favorite salt. So we use pink Himalayan salt here in our home, but you can definitely use whatever salt you'd like. Just make sure it's a really nice salt. We're gonna go ahead and get that one started.
You're going to need a food processor for this. We went ahead and pulled that out, and now we're just taking all of the leaves off of our rosemary and taking the stems out. and just going to pulse that up before we put all of the salt in there. Now, I did not dehydrate enough, so I went ahead and put some of the store-bought in there as well. Normally, I would go ahead and just make sure all of it is done, but for the sake of time, I went ahead and just used some of the store-bought. Now that that's all ground up, we're going to go ahead and add our salt and pulse it again, and then we're going to go ahead and add it to our jar. Now, at the beginning of this video, I told you that we were only going to use the half-gallon and quart-sized jars, but for this one in particular, we're going to go ahead and use a pint-sized jar because it weighed a lot. This salt is a really great way of adding an extra flavor to your dishes. We also like to rub down some of our meats before we put it on the grill, and so that's a great way of being able to use this salt.
I couldn't make this video without doing a French onion soup. My husband absolutely loves it, and it is a really great shelf-stable meal that you can pull out for your family, and it is a really great way that you can use your homegrown goods. We have some freeze-dried onions here, but we can definitely use some dehydrated ones as well. And we are gonna go ahead and pair it with some bone broth that we have made here on our homestead. We freeze-dried this, so this is gonna be a really great meal. If you don't have a freeze dryer at home, definitely check out the video up above where we've discussed it in full length. If you've been on the fence of whether or not you wanna add one to your home, it is a really great tool and a really great way of preserving food. They have actually extended their Black Friday deal all the way to the end of the year, so you still have a little bit of time to scoop up that really awesome deal. They have $500 off of the medium and the large freeze dryers and $300 off of the small, so it is a really great time to add that to your home.
I didn't mention this before, but it's important that you're using nice clean wash jars, and then you're also going to make sure that these are nice and dry. You don't want any moisture in these jars because you want to make sure that they're shelf stable for as long as you possibly can without any kind of bacterial growth in there. We used our freeze-dried bone broth for this recipe, but you can definitely go ahead and use some bouillon cubes that they can just add some water to later on once they rehydrate this. But if you do have a freeze dryer, this is a really great way of just kind of getting those nice layers in your jar. And there you have it, some French onion soup for someone's shelf.
Next jar is something that we shared on our social media a couple months back, and you guys absolutely loved it. So I definitely want to go ahead and make sure I include this, and that is our convenience jars. This is Buttermilk Biscuits. It is wonderful to have here up on our shelves. It is super convenient for me to pull out some biscuits, throw them in the oven, and pair it with some eggs and bacon in the morning. It has just been such a convenience and definitely a wonderful gift if you're trying to give it to a busy mom.
Whenever I make biscuits in the morning, our children absolutely love to help out. I don't know what it is. I guess it's maybe just the cutting of the biscuits and kind of mixing all of this ingredients up. They just get really excited about it. So they definitely take turns on this, and it is a wonderful little family activity in the morning to make breakfast. These jars just take that extra step out of making breakfast and makes it a lot more convenient for us to have a nice hearty meal in the morning.
To go along on the same lines as the biscuit, we're gonna go ahead and include our cornbread recipe as well. This is a really great one if you're trying to pair it with a couple other things and make a big gift. If you want to add some corn that has been homegrown and home canned, that would be perfect to go ahead and pair with this. You can also go ahead and make some chili. Now we have a YouTube recipe on this. This is a really great chili. It's so good and really wonderful to pair with cornbread. And to go along with your cornbread, you can go ahead and include a cast iron skillet. We make all of our cornbread in cast iron and it comes out amazing. Our cornbread recipe calls for honey. Obviously that's not something that we're gonna go ahead and put into our dry goods because it's a wet ingredient, so you wanna make sure that they're separate. But if you raise bees or you can purchase any local raw honey, that is a wonderful thing to include into this. So that would be a really great kind of gift basket idea as well.
Both the biscuit and the cornbread recipes will obviously need to have wet ingredients added to them when you bake them, but it is just such a convenience to have these jars up on our shelf. So I think that it would be a wonderful way of helping a mom out that is super busy.
Now is a really great time to remind you guys, if you're not already subscribed to us, go ahead and hit the subscribe notification bell. And if you're enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps us out to reach more people. Next up, let's go ahead and make some bone broth. Now this is a really great way of you being able to teach someone that doesn't know how to make bone broth, how to make bone broth. All they need to do is pair it with some bones that are left over from their dinner, and we're gonna go ahead and dehydrate these items so that they can just pour it right into their slow cooker along with some apple cider vinegar that you wanna maybe include, and this would be a really great gift.
It was a wonderful convenience to have these shredded carrots to put on our dehydrator sheet. They certainly dried out a lot quicker than you would if you just put a whole carrot or just chopped up some carrots on here. We'll leave a link in our description box down below on our blog post of the benefits of having bone broth in your diet. It is a really great healthy addition to your diet and a really great way of sharing your knowledge with someone that you know and love and want to give this to. One of the ways that we're able to get that gel in our bone broth is through using our chicken feet from the meat chickens that we process. So that is a really great tip. If you raise your own meat chickens, definitely keep those chicken feet because it is wonderful to put into bone broth. Okay, another jar down and we have some beautiful layers in this one.
Do you have a chicken lover in your life? This is a really great one for them. We're gonna go ahead and make some homemade chicken feed. Now today in our jar, we're gonna go ahead and include some sunflower seeds that we grew here on our homestead, so it would be perfect to go ahead and put that personal homegrown touch in there. But if you didn't grow anything like this that's gonna go ahead and put into the jar, you can definitely pick up all of these items at your local feed store.
Our camera cut off while we were taping this, but we have some eggshells at the very bottom. That is going to add some calcium into their diet. We have some corn, some sunflower seeds, oyster shells, and we're topping it off with mealworms.
If you can find some apples that are on sale right now, this is a really great one for you. We're gonna go ahead and dehydrate those and we're gonna pair it along with our cinnamon sticks and our cloves, and we're gonna make a stovetop apple spiced potpourri.
I have my helper here helping me wash all of these apples before I slice them up. I'm using a mandolin to go ahead and get this job done. We're using water and distilled white vinegar to make sure that we are washing them really well. Our children really love to eat these as snacks, so some of them, of course, are going to be left over for them. We can fit quite a bit of these dehydrated apples in this jar, so we're going to go ahead and do that. She's going to fill that up and then put some cinnamon sticks and those whole cloves in there. We looked for some star anise in our grocery store, but couldn't find some, so that would be a really great addition to this as well. But having just the cloves and the cinnamon is perfect.
Okay, number 10 on our list is a really great one. If you have someone in your life that has a smoker or likes to grill out a lot, we're gonna go ahead and make a brisket and rib rub. This is gonna be a really pretty one because we're gonna go ahead and make sure that all of them are layered up. Now, if you grew your own onions, garlic, jalapenos, anything like that, this is a really great one to add that homegrown touch into it, but it's gonna be a really pretty one. They can shake it up whenever they're wanting to use it, but it's gonna look really nice.
We have a smoker at home and my husband is absolutely a master on the grill when it comes to the brisket. I absolutely love it. It is our favorite meal, and so we are all about doing some dry rub on our brisket and our ribs at home. So this is a really great thing to have on the shelf and would make an awesome gift all year round. Before we wrap any of these up, I wanted to go ahead and show you side by side all of the jars that we made with you today. Now we're gonna go ahead and take a piece of wrapping paper and we're gonna bend it on the jar and just wrap this twine around, make it nice and festive. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put these pine cones in here, just lay them in here and make a knot. At this time, you can go ahead and take the labels that you print off of our website and hang it off of this twine. Otherwise, you can definitely go ahead and use the label that we have as well and just put that on the side. Here are our jar labels that we went ahead and designed for you. As you can see on the side, there is an ingredients list that says homegrown, hand-picked, homemade. And then on the other side, there are some directions for whomever you're gifting it to.
We definitely hope that you found a gift that you can maybe give to somebody. If you found it valuable, definitely go ahead and share it with somebody that you know that is looking for a DIY gift this season. Thank you so much for sticking around, guys. Have a blessed day.